In the last video, we looked at how to iterate over a list and display different elements based on the data in that list. Let's go ahead and adjust our lake list a little bit to include objects instead of strings. So let's first replace Echo Lake. We're going to give it an ID, and the ID will be 1. Let's give it a name, and we'll use Echo Lake. And then finally, let's give this a value for Trailhead, and we'll say Echo Lake. Cut and paste that as you see fit. Now, the next thing we're going to do is copy and paste this to the next line and just replace the data. So we'll say this one is mod, and this one is Wrights Lake. And finally, we'll replace this ID with 3. And we'll replace this one with Cascade Lake. And the trailhead is Bayview. All right, cool. So now if I hit refresh, we're going to see that nothing is rendering because we can't find the value for this lake. And what we're going to have to do instead is we're going to have to pull the data off of each of these keys. So let's do that. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use lake.name, and we'll give that a save, and we should see that those lakes are now appearing. Then we could say, for example, trailhead, and then we'll say lake.trailhead. Let me zoom that out, and I'll give it a save, and we should see that Echo Lake has the trailhead Echo Lake, Mod Lake, Wrights Lake, etc. Maybe we should put a little pipe in between that so it looks a little more clear. Ooh, nice. That looks great. So we have some very, very small data here, but we're seeing that we can pull the values we need off of each of those keys in the object. The final thing I wanted to point out is, let's say you didn't want to use this iterating I each time. You could just use the ID. The way we do that is we'd get rid of lake and ID and just use the one parameter here. And then we can replace I with, let's see, lake.id. Perfect. So now we are not in violation at all of any key rules, but we've given that a unique key. Again, if I open up my console with Command Option J and I open the React panel, we're going to see that there's an app here. We have a list item with a key of 1, 2, and 3. So that corresponds to the IDs 1, 2, and 3. So that's a quick example of how we might iterate over an array of objects to display data, unique data, for each of these list items.